Cell-to-cell communication is how cells send and receive messages through the transmission of signals from initial cells to target cells. Cells signal each other in different ways, such as paracrine signaling, neural signaling, and endocrine signaling. The cells use these signals to communicate important information to target cells, which may result in an action of the target cell. Paracrine signaling is the communication between cells in close proximity to each other that does not require transport through blood. These cells communicate through a chemical messenger in the form of a ligand that is sent by the initial cell to the target cell. The target cells have ligand receptors in order to receive the message. Neural communication is a type of paracrine signaling where neuron cells communicate in close proximity to each other with chemical signals. The process consists of a presynaptic neuron communicating to a postsynaptic neuron through a small gap between them called the synaptic cleft. The neuron consists of the dendrites, the cell body or soma, the axon hillock, the axon, and the axon terminals. The dendrites of the neuron are able to receive information. These signals can cause an action potential to be created in the axon hillock of the neuron, which will travel down the length of the axon to the axon terminals. The axon terminals then convert this electrical impulse into a chemical signal that the postsynaptic cell will be able to interpret. The chemical signal sent from the presynaptic neuron to the postsynaptic neuron is a neurotransmitter. The neurotransmitter will be released from the presynaptic cell into the synaptic cleft between the two cells. The postsynaptic neuron must have the correct neurotransmitter receptors in order for it to receive the message. The neurotransmitter will thus bind to these receptors and will cause an action potential to be initiated in the postsynaptic neuron in response. The importance of cell-to-cell communication can be seen through the communication of neurons in response to sensing pain. Afferent or sensory neurons are able to sense things such as pain. These neurons are able to communicate this to an interneuron with the process talked about previously. The interneuron is then able to process this information and decide what to do with it, which it then communicates to the motor neuron. The motor neuron is then able to communicate this information to a muscle in order for it to contract and move the hand away from the fire which is causing the pain. This process of cell-to-cell communication is important in order for our bodies to respond to changes in our environment. Endocrine signaling is the communication between cells further apart. The initial cells secrete a chemical signal in the form of a hormone that must travel through the blood to reach its target. Different hormones sent during endocrine signaling signal different things in the target cells, such as growth and development, sexual reproduction, and more. Overall, cell-to-cell communication consists of cells sending different types of signals to target cells with receptors that can understand the signals. These different types of cellular communication are important for cells in our bodies to know what functions to perform and how to respond to different stimuli.